Hello and welcome. This is NTA Tuesday Live, and I'm Cyril Stober. Now, green is the future. Green is imperative. Strengthen Nigerian agriculture. Now, there are steps to transform Nigerian agriculture. The green imperative plays an important role in initiating an agricultural transformation, leading the country to reduce food imports. Significant increases in agricultural production and productivity will be achieved. Offering healthier food and reducing the price of the basic food basket. Now, the main objective is to produce more on each hectare of land through sustainable agriculture, which respects the environment and values human beings. Tonight, NTA Tuesday Live will focus on the Green Imperative Project for food sufficiency in Nigeria. But before we go into the conversation, let's get to see this report put together by agriculture correspondent Musa Baba Aliyu.
In 2018, Nigeria and Brazil established a partnership aimed at funding agricultural programs. The initiative seeks additional backing from Deutsche Bank in Germany. The partnership, valued at $1.2 billion, will support federal government's Green Imperative project.
We are no longer interested in just selling products to Nigeria. No, we want to make investments in Nigeria, generate jobs, increase your revenues with paying taxes, and converting Nigeria into a platform of export to the rest of Africa.
Since signing the initial Memorandum of Understanding 6 years ago, both countries have engaged in significant discussions to enhance its design and execution. The administration of President Bola Tinubu, recognizing the crucial importance of agriculture and food security, has finalized the agreement with Brazil to launch the Green Imperative project. This agreement was solidified during the president's visit to Brazil in 2024, leading to the signing of an MOU for the project's phase 1, which is funded with $1.2 billion.
This GIP is a wonderful opportunity because it seamlessly aligns with all the policies and programs of this government. It's a private sector-driven initiative that targets the small-scale farmer and links him up with all the agricultural value chains.
The second phase aims to generate an additional $2.5 billion.
So we have a firm commitment with Nigeria. We estimate an $8 billion investment in Nigeria in the next months and years. Green Imperative is part of it, and it's a change of mindset.
Over the next 5 years, the Green Imperative project is expected to identify and support one agribusiness in each of Nigeria's 774 local government areas by providing technical and financial resources to foster sustainable development and economic growth. This will encompass initiatives in fertilizer production, hybrid seeds technology, and agricultural financing throughout the country. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Well, that report sets the tone for tonight's discussion. Let's start off by introducing our guests. I'd like to welcome to this program Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, is Minister of State, Agriculture and Food Security. Thanks for being here, Minister.
Thank you very much, and good evening, Nigerians.
We're also joined by Dr. Kingsley Uzoma, Senior Special Assistant to the President, Agribusiness and Productivity Enhancement. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, and good evening, Nigerians too.
And joining us tonight is Architect Kabiru Ibrahim. He's President, All Farmers Association of Nigeria. Good to see you tonight.
Thank you very much for having me. Good evening, Nigerians.
All right. Green Imperative. That's what it's all about tonight. And let's start off by finding out what this is all about from the start.
Thank you very much, Cyril, and a very good evening to all Nigerians. First, permit me to say congratulations to our dear President for the birth of this very, very important project. This project has been almost 6 years in the making, and it is one of the inherited projects from the last administration. And of course, like the president has always said, he inherited both asset and liability, and he is definitely going to pay attention to both sides of these two issues. And of course, we all know that he is passionately interested in transforming our food system so that we'll have sustainable food security. And so everything and all things that will make this possible are given more or less like frontal attention, and they are front-loaded. So the Green Imperative project, as designed, was given all the attention, and the midwifing was, done in the office of the Vice President, based on the Presidential Food System Coordinating Unit, which was, put in place by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to ensure that we are able to properly coordinate the entire effort of government towards having a sustainable food system. So the GIP, as it is designed to achieve three core objectives. First, it is designed to reduce our import bill. The food import bill in this country is definitely not sustainable, is high, and we believe, based on our natural potentials and God-given land in this country, we should be able to do something to reduce that. And so this project is going to help us towards that direction. The second one is to also produce, that is to enhance the productivity of our farmers, so that at the end of the day, we are able to reduce the cost of production of food in the country, increasing the productivity of farmers and making them more competitive and productive. And then the third one is to ensure that the quality of food is given all attention, so that we are not just taking food, we are taking very nutritious food, we are taking food that will help you to maintain a very good, healthy, body. And so these three things are the core objectives of this program. But suffice it to say here that the project is going to come in phases. The phase one has $1.2 billion, and it is targeting at, identifying, appropriate, comparative and competitive, business line in terms of production, crop production, food, across the 774 local government, so that at the end of the day, attention will be paid to it in a throughput manner, that is from beginning to the end, looking at production, processing, storage, marketing, consumption, everything. So this is, targeting the 774 local governments. And of course, in the course of doing that, a lot of things will be done. The equipment and technologies that will be brought in will definitely be done in such a manner that if, for example, machineries are to be brought in, they will be brought in as, the TKO, that is totally knocked down, or is it TKD? Or is it completely CKDs? Yes, CKDs are completely knocked down, parts or semi-knocked down parts, where they will be assembled here in country. And in the process also, the plan is to put the country on a trajectory where at the end of the day, we are going to begin to see manufacturing of this equipment in country. So overall, this project is designed to be a game changer. And of course, it is going to join the bouquet of other agricultural mechanization programs that have been designed. The difference here is that this one has mechanization part, but it is all encompassing in terms of looking at production, looking at processing, looking at even logistics. Because it might interest you to understand that sometimes we talk about post-harvest losses, for example. Even the mode of transportation in the country is not appropriate for some of the food items that our people are consuming. So this project is designed to look holistically at all of this. So let me conclude before I yield the floor to my other guest by saying this. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at all times is not just looking at solving the immediate concern and problems. In this case, for example, that he declared a state of emergency because our food security situation was a bit precarious, and that a lot of things were done since then, releasing grains, getting grains from producers, and those ones are the short-term, immediate, to bring succor, to bring relief. But his vision is one in which he speaks to one thing. How did we get here? What can we do to prevent a repeat? And I think the GIP is definitely falling in line with that kind of vision. And that is why he gave it all the attention. And today, we're happy to sign the first part of the consultancy agreement where this project will begin its implementation.
All right, thank you so very much, Minister. Looking at the figures that you've churned out, more than $1 billion. That's a massive, massive amount of money. And we're talking here of just the first phase. So,
But remember,
yes,
Nigeria is a massive, massive country with a huge population.
Okay.
When you divide that, then you understand how much, whether we are putting our money where our mouth is. Okay. I think that's what the president wants to start doing.
All right. We'll save it and return to some of those issues later on. But easily, the three key things you mentioned here was a reduction of the food import, an increase in productivity, and again, you talk about quality, ensuring that what is produced is nutritious, has a high nutritional value. The president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria is here with us. Easily, the first thing I'd say to you is how ambitious do you think this project is?
Well, it is quite ambitious, but doable. We've been following up this and hoping and praying for it to mature from 2017. The issue of the GIP came up from there. And over time, the National Assembly didn't get it to be signed, all kinds of things. We are very grateful now and happy that it has at last been signed and it will be implemented.
The National Assembly signed it.
No, this was signed, the 1.1.
The National Assembly, I was in the Senate then, we approved the borrowing plan for the GIP in 2022.
2021.
Is it 2021?
March
Yes, 2021.
2021.
Yes, 2021.
March 21st.
So that is the role of the National Assembly, and that was done. So I think
at any rate, I'm not in the National Assembly.
So that's why we are giving the correct
As a farmer, what I know is that we were told that the thing remained to be signed before it was going to be implemented. Now, we saw the former PAMSEC of the ministry signing the MOU in Brazil. Today, we are being told that it will come on steam and it would permeate all the 774 local governments. It would come in farm machinery and it will ensure that good agricultural practice is used and good food will be produced, and that will feed the 230 million people of Nigeria and beyond. So we are very happy for it. We look forward to its proper and transparent implementation.
All right, let's go up to Dr. Kingsley Uzoma. And easily the discussion here about the whole thing, the whole concept having started in so many years ago, 2017, 2018, you got it through to the legislature in 2020, 2021. The question I would have here is, initially there was talk about a loan agreement. Now, is that still a component of this agreement? And if it is, aren't there worries about how this will be expended and what and how it will be repaid? Or has it changed?
Well, like Honorable Minister stated rightly, this is in phases. The first phase of any agreement is getting the borrowing mandate by the National Assembly and signing the MOU, which was signed. Now we're at the final phase, the consultancy agreement. And then this facility is structured to be financed by multiple financial institutions: Deutsche Bank, Brazil Development Bank or the Brazilian Bank, and some form from Islamic Development Bank. So the core of the agreement has been signed. So the next agreements are subsidiary agreements by Deutsche Bank. And in the first tranche, this will be spent in tranches. The first tranche is to be financed by Deutsche Bank. 150 million euros. So the agreement will be signed by Deutsche Bank, but it's syndicated under this GIP, a Brazilian government-Nigerian partnership. So in terms of payments, this is not like every other financial or loan packages to the country. This is private sector driven model. What the federal government is providing, the sovereign guarantee of the federal government, the ultimate beneficiaries are the private sector agribusinesses. They will pay. The federal government has provided the sovereign guarantee, which is also ensured by the Islamic Corporation for Insurance of Investment at Export Credit in case of non-honoring of sovereign financial obligations to the tune of 95%. So principally, this is a model that should be implemented by all because there is no room for failure. In each local government, this is structured also in the mechanization provision. You have two types. Type 1, which will cover 632 local governments, and you have type 2, which will cover 142 local governments, making it 774. So we are starting with type 1, the agricultural production mechanization, which finances mechanization for production activities, land clearing, plowing, harrowing, ridging, harvesters, all primary production activities. And the way it's structured is this. Not just everybody will come and say, like a normal, the mentality that this is government largesse. No. You must prove financial and technical capacity to be able to, there are different selection criteria. And the financial criteria, let me hammer on that because you talked about the repayment.
Yes.
The financial criteria, I will give you one. That company must have a history of not having been bankrupt before. The individuals, the board members of the company has to be investigated. Also have to look at their technical competencies. Have they been involved in agricultural mechanization program? If you have not been involved and you have the financial capacity, then you have to partner with established farmer, established agricultural enterprises. Because when you don't have the financial capacity or you have the financial capacity, you don't have the technical capacity, you must have the financial, under the financial sub-entities there is managerial, the rest of them, and then the technical capacity. So you must fuse the financial and technical capacity. And again, the service center location will not just be located that, oh, I'm from location A, put it there. No. There is also criteria for location of the service centers. You use different indicator criteria: access to market, nearness of water resources, roads, power supply, solar radiation profile of the area. So all these drivers, productivity drivers, has to align and optimize for that location to be selected. So your company will qualify. The next one, that's why we have this FGV consultancy agreement that has been signed. They will do all these things if the company has been qualified. The next phase of the pre-qualification is the site selection. Because if you're qualified and you are sited in a place where you cannot service farmers, where will you get the money to pay back? Because it's not the federal government that will pay back ultimately. Ultimately, it's the Nigerian companies that federal government has guaranteed this credit on their behalf that will take it up, that will pay. And there must be a collateral system. The central bank, national collateral register, the central bank will hold it until you pay before you not take full possession of these facilities that have been given to you.
Okay, so clear enough. You said, well, this probably act like a safety net, so it's not direct, not the kind of loan where we're expecting that this again will eat deep into Nigeria's reserves and payment. And we wanted to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
But going to the next phase, Minister.
Yeah.
Yes, the companies are there. They have to go through all the screening and prove that they have the wherewithal, the knowledge, and they're involved in agricultural activities. What I want to know is that those members who are registered under Architect Kabiru's Farmers Association, small farmers, probably do not even have their own land, who have to even carry out agricultural activities on land that is, if you like, borrowed. How will this impact them?
Well, let me say there is space for everybody. It's an all-encompassing program. First, even though he has painted that, picture of technical capacity and whatnot, it is also understood that these capacities are lacking. And so the project has provision for capacity building and development, systematically designed to ensure that both management capacity, that is managerial capacity to run agri enterprises, and then the skill set required for you to operate, whether at production level, processing level, or all other components of the value addition process within the value chain. All of it has been carefully identified. Now, what I will need to add here is the fact that this is not going to be an experiment. This is something that has already been tried and tested by this same consultant, the FGV. They are the ones responsible for the miracle that you see in the Brazilian agricultural landscape today. And remember, the reason why we choose Brazil is that we have similar agroclimatic conditions. The Cerrados in Brazil is what they call the savanna, and Nigeria has a lot of, almost all the savannas. Apart from the forest area, we have the Guinea savanna. The Guinea savanna is into two, Southern Guinea, Northern Guinea. And it might interest you to know part of the Niger Delta also has, the Guinea savanna, because Delta State itself has provisions, Edo State, all those, they have, that is the Southern Guinea savanna actually. So there is space for everybody. And what is being planned in this program is that those farmers who you are talking about with respect to Architect Kabir, the small-scale farmers, they will all be handheld. There is hand-holding in terms of raising their good agricultural practice capacity, so that even if it's 0.2 hectares you have, the good agronomic practices that will be used will be taught to you, and you will be able, under your small plot, to produce exactly to specification, because there are also off-takers. There are aggregators who will be brought into the mix. That way, market is guaranteed. Because one of the problems has been that the farmers already have interest. They are already interested in farming. But what is their challenge? Certain other inputs, even the aspect of input. This project has provision to make sure that we're going to have the right input. Because no matter how good your land is, if you don't put the right input, there's a problem. If you have the right input, you don't have the right seed, there's a problem. So all of these things have been carefully crafted, and at the end of the day, these farmers will also be part of this show, medium-scale farmers, large-scale farmers. And remember, because we are doing it across 774 local governments, the peculiarity of each of these 774 local governments is where the farmers will fit in. So I want to assure Nigerians that, yes, this program is coming in, and of course, every single farmer that is definitely interested in farming, we find value in participating in this particular program.
Can I also add a little on that?
Yes, please.
The smallholder farmers will benefit also, like the Honorable Minister had stated. This is a service center. That is service centers. Each local government is service center. So they provide mechanization service,
centers, yes,
input service, training service, extension services. So they will also employ graduates, train them as extension officers to sell extension services to these smallholder farmers who will not pay in cash, but they will pay in kind. They will also in the design, they also have a fair trade purchasing agreement with the farmers, that smallholder farmer does not necessarily need to have all the money or the inputs to do. What you need to have is, one, the commitment, and their own contribution, which is the space. So they provide a tractor, clear land for you, plow, harrow, plant for you, harvest for you, and provide you with seeds, chemicals, and even irrigation. At the end of the day, all this is at a predetermined and agreed, mutually agreed price, market competitive. So when you harvest, they will offtake the cost of their services for that resource poor smallholder farmer with produce. And the farmer will now have the remainder of the produce to either sell to them at a fair price agreed or carry it and sell on their own. So it's a win-win for the farmers.
All right, let's hear you.
Well, this is very good news. The only hang-up we have is that it is prudently done. And that's what we will monitor. And it's good that the ministry has found a model by making us part of the monitoring and evaluation. Yeah. So we sit here in our Babariga and tell our people all over the place to monitor carefully what is being done. If there are any hiccups, let them alert us. But the basic thing is, we are now coming to terms with reality. There is a very strong nexus between agribusiness and agricultural production. And now everything is going towards the farmer to get value for their produce. And that will incentivize them. And it's a very welcome development, and it's what will take us to the attainment of food security and for everybody to be prosperous.
Let me stay a little longer with you, given that you have a huge database of farmers who are with you. What is the level of sensitization, their involvement? No, there have been so many strategies in the past, and I'm sure you can reel them out for us here. But this has come in. So what is the level of sensitization and the understanding of your members? I'm not talking about those ones who already know a lot about mechanization and stuff like that.
Yes.
I'm talking about small farmers, who look up to their association to lead them to, along the right path.
Well, I want you to go to the farmer now. Every farmer in Nigeria now knows that they are beginning to get value for what they produce. So everybody is sensitive, is sensitized to know the value of what they produce. Now, if there is any model to scale, to help them to scale that, they would welcome it. So that's why I said this is good news. All the farmers are looking up to survivability and being able to play at a very good level with everybody else in Nigeria. Now, to this extent, the farmers are asking us. Every day, people ask, when are we going to get these possibilities that you have been reeling out from a very long period? And no government has done better than this administration in opening new windows. There are many, many new windows. What we are saying is that we don't have a dearth of opportunities. What we have is a dearth or a near dearth of implementation. And now what we want to do is to monitor and ensure that these things are properly, transparently implemented. And the ministry has assured us of this. We know we have had the NAGS AP. The farmers are part of the monitoring and evaluation from all levels in all the 774 local governments. We got a letter, we transmitted these letters, it cascaded everywhere else. When this comes on board, we will do the same, and people will be awake, and they know the importance of making a good kill on agriculture now. The other time I came here, you were complaining all over that things in the market are very costly. Mm-hmm. The farmers, in most cases, are happier now because they are getting value for what they produce. But you should know that no one farmer produces everything that he or she wants. They also buy from the same market. So everybody will have their eyes wide open on these opportunities. So even if you don't know directly, somebody else will wake you up. Word of mouth, they say, even sells merchandise. So the opportunities are here. They are being reeled out. We have been hearing of them. Today, I think we've had them very well. Everybody will hear it, and I will tell everybody what the Honorable Minister and the SA have said, and what we have seen on TV, and we are happy with it. Therefore, we are looking forward to it, and we should learn to produce there around. We should be able to do this because there are opportunities. So many farm machineries are coming into this program. In fact, when we started looking at it, the analysis was that over 600 and something local governments will be part of it in the first instance. And by mere arithmetic, we envisage that every local government will have at least 10 tractors in the service center. And therefore, if you take my local government, for instance, the grain producing areas, if you deploy all these 10, for instance, they will be able to prepare the land and all that for so many number of people. And these people don't have to pay immediately. They will pay in kind. So these are services that are rendered, articulated, monitored, and the results will be seen. And whatever they produce will also get market. Instead of the farmer carrying whatever he or she produces to 200 kilometers to sell, they will be able to get fair price at the point of production. And that is the only way government will now stock its strategic grains reserve. Because whatever they are able to get from people who pay in kind will be taken to the strategic reserve when things are difficult. From the guaranteed minimum price, what we have learned is that when there is inflation like you have had recently, and the stock in the grains reserve is there, it will be brought out and it will cushion the effect of inflation. That is the purpose of it. And from CADEP, all the 4 pillars, the first pillar that the Umaru Yar'Adua administration tackled was the storage. We developed 1.3 million metric ton storage capacity. And most of it is there. Some of it has had to be concessioned because we couldn't fill it up. But with this, we will have enough. And then since we are looking at every region and every local government, the staples in my catchment, for instance, will be what the farmers will produce. Therefore, there will be real food security. Because you need to look at food security from what is staple in a given location. If you, no matter the amount of a certain commodity you produce, if you take it to another region, it's not staple. Kingsley is from the southeast. If you give them, let's say, guinea corn there, at best they will use it to make beer. But then when you are looking at farmers from where he comes from, they will produce that which is staple there. So there will be food security in all regions. And you need global food security in a diversified nation like Nigeria. So this is a very good opportunity. We look forward to its implementation. And we hope to be there to monitor the implementation on behalf of the smallholder farmers, who will now become small-scale producers, and they will become medium-scale producers and large-scale producers, and the number of these small farmers will contract so that we will be like the first world. In the United States, farmers are just 2% of the population. In Europe, they are just 3%. So not everybody will have to farm, but we will get employment from the processes of production. Like the minister said, the food system comprises of about 4 or 5 pillars: production, processing, distribution, marketing, and even consumption. So we are happy for it, and we look forward to its full implementation.
And just to add to farmer engagement, in the implementation protocol of the GIP as it's designed, the first point of implementation is public engagement, which is engagement of the farmers. So there will be a road show to different agricultural communities in the country. So after the public engagement, you now have the call for pre-qualifications. Then the people that are interested within that local government will send the expression of interest. After that, shortlisting and call for proposal, they will send the proposal, then selection and appointment, the service center. So the first point, so that this will be sustainable, is public engagement with the farmers, the major stakeholders, the AFAN.
Yeah, just to add up, because one of the issues is that as a system, we have also been preparing. And like the president of AFAN said, definitely in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, ever since we came on board with my brother, distinguished Senator Abubakar Kyari, he will attest to the fact that there is nothing we do that we don't call in the relevant sector
Stakeholders.
of the farmers and even other people who necessarily are part of the value chain, stakeholders, not even because it's not only the farmers are part of the value chain. So we respect the fact that based on the value chain approach, which we have all, taken in the ministry, we have identified the role of the engagement, like Dr. Kingsley is saying. And I think the bottom line here is the fact that we want a bottom-up approach. That is why we're talking about the 774 local governments. Now, beyond that also, we believe that the system itself has put in place a very robust monitoring and evaluation framework. It's going to be web-based. Whatever is going to be done will be seen real-time, real life on their website. And the database of participants, the farmers, which is talking about, will also be there. So there's a lot of, injection of transparency and accountability in the framework for implementation. So, and like I said, to ensure inclusivity, and by the way, inclusivity is one of the, 8-point agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have also taken note of the fact that there are segments of society or even, people who may be left behind. That element of inclusivity has also been captured, such that at the end of the day, everybody will be considered in terms of his contribution across the value chain, process. When it comes to processing, for example, and even the process of preparing food, those who are most in number. And so even if they don't have the capacity to ensure that they are included, that's why I told you that it's a very robust capacity building strategy or plan in this particular, arrangement. So that at the end, since you have the interest, your skill sets are not up to date, your competencies are not up to date, you will be brought, face to face with this reality, and intervention will be taken so that you will be prepared to be able to deliver on exactly not just the scale you are capable of, but also the quality that is expected in that arrangement.
Okay, well, I'd like to come to Dr. Kingsley Uzoma on the matter of this relationship between the companies and the beneficiary farmers. Who will be provided these services and who you say will pay back in kind, not necessarily cash? And there, my main concern has to be with the insurance. Is there an insurance component in the case of default, poor harvest?
Yes, if you look at the key actors in this green imperative, one is the assembly plant operators, because these components will come in as completely knocked down parts, will be assembled in 6 assembly plants, one in each geopolitical zone. Then you have the service center operators. The last is local, commercial, development bank, central bank, and insurance companies. So any farmer that is operating within the scheme will have his or her own farm activity insured, because this is not only for crop farmers alone, you also have for livestock. In fact, 30% of it is supposed to go for the livestock value chain. So they will be insured. Secondly, the payment in kind or in cash is at the prerogative of the farmer. If the farmer has the money to pay for the services in cash, he pays. If he does not have the money to pay, he has the opportunity to still farm and still receive every service that rich farmer has gotten, but with a deferred payment upon harvest. That is where the insurance comes in. And then also, selling the produce is also at the prerogative of the farmer. That's why we say fair trade agreement with the service center operator. So if you feel what the service center is offering you is not market price competitive, you can sell and refund them the agreed price of the services they have rendered to you, mechanization and the extension and inputs.
Fair agreements. I'm thinking here, the Farmers Association will be part of this, because, I mean, when you are determining what is fair, between one who is empowered and one who's looking to benefit from a scheme?
I will give you, before you step in, I will give you, under this administration, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, there's, like the Honorable Minister said, we have bouquet of different interventions. So that's the idea of exploiting the farmers may not really suffice very well in this circumstance, because you also have the special agro-industrial processing zone, where you also have something similar. And one of the limiting, when you look at the risk analysis of the SAPZ, is the input supply. So if the service center operator is not forthcoming, offering the price competitive price, you also have another competitor. That is also a big...
Yeah, I think the point to be made here is this. Remember, in this package, I told you there is also provision for appropriate input. And here the input, if you remember, I said cost reduction. The reason why we can talk about productivity or efficiency here is the fact that you are putting less to get more. Isn't it? That is the index. You put in little and you are getting
minimization
more.
And
so
maximization.
You want to maximize whatever resource use you are using. Now the point here is that the president is always concerned about one thing. How do you protect the farmers? In everything we do, that is the number one question he will ask. What is the mechanism for protecting the farmers? Here, like he said, there is engagement. There is community engagement and feedback. That community engagement and feedback mechanism is designed to make sure that nobody will take undue advantage of either what he thinks as the ignorance of the farmers. And this program is designed to cut out the middlemen who have always exploited the Nigerian farmer. You see, anytime we give support to Nigerian farmers and they produce, at the farm gate level, somebody takes the price and the farmer is a price taker. He has not been given the power to be able to dictate what the price is. But here, because there is already a pre-arranged engagement, everything about price setting will be done mutually with the producers and all the other actors. So when that is done, there is no way somebody will come and start changing the rules in the middle of the game.
All right,
Just to add 1 minute again, the farmers, those smallholder farmers can also be service center operators through cooperatives. Right. In Ghana, by this same FGV, Senegal, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, you'll find the smallholder farmers through the public engagement aggregating themselves as cooperatives and becoming that service center operator. So are the farmers going to cheat themselves? Can I cheat myself?
Oh, well, many of those who are watching this program now are also raising issues. We have Hussaini from Jos, who's ready to ask one or two questions here. Hussaini from Jos, if you're there, go ahead.
Yes, hello?
Hello, go ahead.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, go ahead.
Go ahead, contribute.
Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Cyril. Yes, thank you, Mr. Cyril. My contribution is this. You see, federal government, right from different government that have come into being in this country, have been intervening in different aspects on agriculture, particularly livestock, food and otherwise, production and otherwise. The issue is that is the sincerity of purpose. That is the major problem we are having in this country. For instance, federal government has been giving money for the purchase of implements like things like tractors and various interventions. If you give tractors to people that are supposed to the farm, when it comes to the hands of those people that are supposed to anchor those things, they will take those tractors, politicize the whole process. You will see a member of House of Assembly or a member of National Assembly that is not into farming. They will take those tractors, share it to themselves, well, allowing the local farmers without getting those implements. At the end of it, they will now take it, go and sell it to some people that are not even farming. Talk of fertilizer. If you go to some of the states, you realize that all the fertilizer that are being sent in billions and billions of.
Hussaini, are you still there? Hussaini. Oh dear, but he's made a point here, and which the minister will respond to. How do you ensure that this doesn't slip into what Hussaini was talking about? Because we've seen so many.
And I want to congratulate Hussaini for frankly speaking. I know you speak for so many people, but let me be very clear about this. For me, my integrity is something I don't joke with as a person. And in this government, the president is very, very clear. He has never mixed word with it. He's a man of integrity, and the highest political will ever in this sector, I think, has been given by this president in terms of the support he's giving to agriculture and why he wants to make intervention. Is the fact that he has a vision, as he has always said. He wants a country where no one goes to bed hungry. And I think that is what we are working for. And that's why we are talking about reducing the cost of production so that we have efficiency introduced. And the point you have raised, that is the old order. Right now, we are having 3 mechanization programs, including this one, the 4th one. But this one goes beyond the others because it is a throughput project that has from beginning production down to the logistics and processing. Now, the point to be made here is that the green, what did they call it, Greener Hope mechanization program, the John Deere mechanization program, and the Belarus mechanization program are all designed to have that service center. So we keep talking about the local government. That is where the action point is. Unlike before, where things are done at the top, no, we are now going down to where the farmers are. That is where the action is going to be. And the model is that nobody is going to be given tractor in the manner that this thing is being done before. The programs are designed as government enabled, but private sector led. And because they are private sector led, they are not going to take their tractor and just give it to you like a luggage, as he has said. The idea here is to bring these services as close to the farmer as it is possible. We know the local farmer having half an hectare or 1 hectare cannot afford to buy a tractor that is 30 million, 40 million. But if it is available at the service center, we are young Nigerians, we have a lot of agric engineers, young Nigerians who will be asked to come and manage these centers like he has tried to explain before. Now, they are the ones who are going to be there for you. And in fact, like the Belarus and even the John Deere, they have provision, software provision, because we are now in a digital world where anywhere these tractors are, they can actually see it in their database. So it's not something that is going to be thrown at anybody. And I want to assure the caller, is it Hassan, and all Nigerian, Hussaini, and all Nigerian farmers, including their president here, that we, on our honor, are not going to allow Nigerian farmers to be shortchanged. In fact, the president will agree with us that he knows since we came on board, our concern is who are the genuine farmers? Who are the genuine farmers? Because we are aware of people who don't own farms, but when these programs are brought in the past, they come around and hobnob with the process, pretend to be farmers, and take away everything that has been given. And at the end of the day, leaving the farmers dry, like the caller has said. These programs are designed to take away all of these things because we have learned our lesson, and we know if we have to have a sustainable food transformation system in this country, then we must ensure services are provided to Nigerian farmers as at when they need it, in the best form they need it, but most importantly, to also realize that the farmers need to be supported by capacity building. And like I said, this program is very big and robust in training, because the reason why our farmers are not able to meet up to is the good agricultural practices which the president talked about earlier. And if they have to be given training and retraining and retraining, they can do a very fantastic job of production. And that is what we intend to do.
Fine. We have another caller on the line. Ade calling in from Abuja here. Hello, Ade, go ahead. Your question or comment? Okay. All right, we lost that call, right? They just try and call back in. And, well, extending it further, I'm sure the Farmers Association president can testify that a number of strategies in the past had suffered the same fate that Hussaini talked about. And so from the aspect, the perspective of the farmer, what would you be bringing in now to ensure that your members are not shortchanged this time around?
See, the beauty of this plan is that this will be taken to the grassroots. Agriculture does not take place here in Abuja. It is a rural vocation. And if these services are going to be there with the farmers, only farmers will benefit, true real farmers. Middlemen may not be able to participate if the real farmers and the leaders of the farmers are there, are involved in the implementation. Now, I was itching to answer so many things that came up in terms of shortchanging or for the farmers to renege in paying or in selling to people who helped them to do it. There is a mechanism that has been in place from 2008, but it is almost moribund now. It is called the guaranteed minimum price. The government must bring that up and ensure that it works so that a farmer will sell at a good price to be able to go back the following year to produce it so that you have sustainable food security. This is what happens even in Brazil.
Good news.
About 20 years ago, Brazil was just like us. You know, when I was president of Poultry Association of Nigeria, we looked at Brazil as a developing nation, not where it is today. If this worked there, and with all the similarities that we have, if it is properly implemented here and monitored closely, I see that we will get good results. And I hope that we get results in our lifetimes. Yeah. It's work in progress. Yeah. We don't expect it next year, everybody will be happy. But it is work in progress and it is well put, the footprints are well put, and the thing will just continue and it will just go like that. It will get the optimum push and everybody will be there for it. But again, what the Nigerian people should do, and even our leaders, we should be able to make sure that whatever we do or say, people believe it. I mean, if we have distrust, even from government actions, then we have a problem.
All right, we're fast running out of time, so
just a moment. He talked about this
round off now.
Yes, he talked about this guaranteed minimum price. Right. I just want to put it to you that there is a lot of work currently going on looking at this.
Okay.
And I want to assure you that a good news is going to come out.
Are we still taking a call from Lagos? Right. Latif from Lagos. You probably would be the last calling in on this topic. Latif from Lagos, can we hear you quickly so that we can get the response before we wind down? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Go ahead.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Please, sir, I'd like to ask some questions like what are your provisions for the graduates that are unemployed presently for Nigerians?
Okay.
The unemployed graduates that are not employed presently now, what are your plans for them to engage them in this your provisions?
Thank you very much for that very beautiful question. One of the pillars of the 8 Renewed Hope agenda is the fact that job creation is one of the very core component and economic growth. And if you look at the design of this program, it is designed to achieve both, including the food security, including the inclusivity, and even access to capital. Now, in answer to your question directly, in each of these 774 local government areas, that is the agro service centers, ASCs, will be run by young Nigerians who will be asked to, they will be supported to form themselves in groups that will be able to take this on. In each of these groups, there will be managers, There will be those who will do the administration. There will be technical people, that is the agric engineers. There will be agronomists and all the others. So it's going to be a collection of people. And then remember also in this, like Dr. Kisley was trying to explain earlier, cooperative societies will also be encouraged to go into production, where they will be supported in all of this. So for us, as far as we are concerned, this program is designed to make the young Nigerians see agriculture as a business, not one in which you'll be carrying hoe and cutlass. That is not what we're looking at. This is going to be an agribusiness-oriented, project where mechanization, best-in-class mechanization that will enhance productivity of that operation will be from production, processing, distribution, logistics, and even consumption. All of these things are going to be captured, and there is robust training capacity so that if you desire, based on your expression of interest, there is provision for you to be trained based on global best practice, as has been tried and tested in Brazil, for example, and many other locations.
Well, we'll have to leave this conversation here. We'll run out of time.
This program is designed to actually empower the youths, the graduates. It's supposed to create 2.3 million jobs in the first 4 years, and in the 10 years, 5.9 million jobs, and more than half of the jobs expected to be created from these projects are for the young graduates. Go and read. You can Google and read the project appraisal documents and look at the employment numbers.
Thank you very much for coming on this program. The Green Imperative Project, that's what we've been talking about with Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, Minister of State Agriculture and Food Security. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, sir, for having me.
And Architect Kabiru Ibrahim, President, All Farmers Association of Nigeria. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
And Dr. Kingsley Uzoma, Senior Special Assistant to the President, Agric Business and Productivity Enhancement. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Right. Coming up shortly, our second topic for tonight, socioeconomic benefits of women in governance. Stay with us.
Inviting you to join the Side by Side Niger campaign.
At Side by Side Niger, we are asking for just one thing: fair representation of men and women in government through elective and appointive positions.
Why do we need more women in parliament?
Why do we need more women in government?
Only 4 out of 109 senators are women. Only 16 out of 360 House of Representatives are women. In the history of Nigeria, there has never been a female governor. Only 7 out of 36 deputy governors are women. In 14 states, women affairs matters are being headed by men.
But guess what? Women are half the population of Nigeria.
Women also make up to 47.5% of voters. More women should be part of making laws and policies that impact their lives. Join the movement.
None of that small picking make it not get apple, but make get labeled to take over around. My name is Anita Alaire Asoa. I have always believed in hard work and dedication and using my platform to promote real change. Nigeria has millions of talented and brilliant women. Women, where we say they are HQ, their headquarters, they pump on its head. Yet we see the same pattern. Less than 10% representation in governance. No matter how much effort women put in, we are still underrepresented where it matters the most: leadership. It is not about taking over, it's about balance. When a woman has a seat at the table, it reflects everyone's needs. So like this, time to reach to join the movement. To join me, let's push for a Nigeria where leadership reflects the true strength of our people. Men and women, side by side.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying. is unique. We are more than just a nation. We are Nigeria. We are Nigeria. Strength in unity. We know they carry lives. We are Nigeria. We are Nigeria. Together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
NTA Tuesday Live, a network issue-oriented innovation talk show.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, over the years, many women have faced daunting challenges of joblessness, no source of livelihood, widowhood, single parenthood. Now, these challenges notwithstanding, the roles played by women in national development and in all facets of human endeavor have been quite notable. Though there has been considerable progress in developing the capabilities of women, their participation in economic and political decision-making remains very limited. The United Nations Development Programme, in its 2005 Human Development Report, listed some examples to show that in spite of the considerable progress in developing women's capacities, women and men still live in an unequal world. The examples include the following. Poverty has a woman's face because 70% of the 1.3 billion people living in poverty are women. The increase in poverty among women arises from their unequal situation in the labor market, their status, and the power in the family. Now, women's labor force participation rose by just 4% in 20 years from 36%. Tonight, the second part of our discussion will focus on socioeconomic benefits of women in governance. But before we go on that, let's get to see this report put together by gender correspondent Ngozi Teknikio.
Historically, decisions affecting women and children were primarily made by men, largely due to societal, cultural, and religious norms that suggest women should be seen, not heard. However, as the saying goes, he who wears the shoe knows where it pinches. Nigerian women now demand a seat at the table to voice their opinions on issues that directly affect them, especially the girl child.
Women are the pillars of our homes across the globe. And taking a decision for a woman where she knows that the decision you're taking for her is not actually going to be beneficial to her was the major reason that constitutes the clamor for involvement. It is of paramount importance for people to know, or for the nation to know, that women involvement in the decision process of the country, or political and governance and private sector, is very, very important.
Women are very critical to this economic benefits of a nation. That is a very fundamental position that various statistics have shown that countries that have women in leadership have a lot of gain.
Despite numerous obstacles, many women have defied stereotypes, rising to the top of their fields while also playing roles in governance.
We have to take care of the people who take care of the people.
Every woman that is in government has a story to tell, because it has taken us so much sacrifice and so much of suffering to reach where we are. So we know where we are coming from, and we know that having come to where we are, we know the impact we are making on our immediate families and our community at large. That is why you see that any woman that is in government, like if you are in a managerial level, you always want to mentor somebody because of the kind of impact we make on our society, and we want it to continue.
In addition to excelling in governance, many women who make up 82% of Nigeria's informal sector contribute to the nation's GDP while also strengthening the home front. The impact of women giving back to the society is significant. Women have empowered others by offering training programs. For example, Madam Abigail, a mother of 6, and Priscilla, a young woman, each received training in modern agriculture and sewing. They are now eager to make their mark in the business world.
I had to sew clothes. I have the passion for it. So when I have the opportunity, I now grab it.
Nigerian women have also been supported by institutions like the Miriam Babangida National Center for Women Development and the National Council for Women Societies. These organizations are working to build the financial capacity of young women through various empowerment programs.
We have a very robust ICT training center that trains the girl child, the blind, vulnerable, disabled, young men and women. We teach them because we are in the digital world now. And another area that we do very well is in the catering section, cookery. You see, cooking is already our own God's given task, but you have to package it in such a way that you will attract customers. It will be sellable, you can sell it. Every year, if you look at the people we train from ICT, tailoring, catering, and other vocational trainings, we bring out not less than 500 in a year.
As the saying goes, when you empower a woman, you empower a nation. The future for women in Nigeria looks bright as everyone comes together to support the development of the girl child. Ngozi Technical, NTA News.
All right. That report also sets the tone for this discussion on the socioeconomic benefits of women in governance. Let me introduce our guest. I'd like to welcome to this program Dr. Emeka Okengu. Is a development economist. Thanks for being here tonight.
Pleasure. It's a great pleasure to be here with you.
Right. We're also joined by Dr. Ifeanyi Okweme, a Greek economist, the Ignatius Ajuru University of Education in Port Harcourt, and Dr. Okweme will be joining us via Zoom at some point in this conversation. But let's come back here at the studio. And in the last few weeks, we've been holding discussions on this program about women in governance and empowering women, bringing more of them into governance positions in all aspects of the country. And we've had both men and women speak on these issues. Tonight, we're concentrating on the socioeconomic benefits of women in governance. Let's start by putting that in context.
Yeah, thank you. I think the first thing we need to establish is when you say you want to empower women, who does this empowerment? Is it systemic? Is it traditional? Is it cultural? Is it social? Is it economic? Now, the moment you're able to identify who brokers the power, then you actually find where the issues are. Because, I mean, it's like what you've just said from that statement is that it's a man's world, but we can let you have some of it. Okay, so this is where this fixation on tradition, on religion, on standards, on optics will come to play. So there's no level playing ground. That's the first thing. There's a demarcation. Okay, you're not talking about human beings. Okay, you're talking about humankind. It's important to make that distinction.
Yeah, I get that. So it's more like, well, it's our world.
Oh yes,
and we just want to give you a bit of it so you can come in.
Yes.
So that in itself,
yes, it's very defeatist. So this is where the whole thing begins to go wrong, and this is where this pigeonholing begins to happen. I mean, for crying out aloud, yes, we might allow you to take a few steps out of your boundaries, but please remember who you are. And who are you? You're not human, you're a woman. So it's very important that that comes. And the moment you're brought up to believe that there are some limits, and I can give you a typical example. This is you, 4 kids. First is a girl, second is a girl, third is a girl. And then after 10 years comes a boy. And then you probably start showing your inheritance. Oh, now I've given you a boy. Oh, my role or my stay in your house is now permanent. So these children, your wife, believes that her residency in your house is tied to that young man. And at the point of departure, at the point of your transition, everybody starts looking at him as the chief mourner and as the benefactor of your, of your wealth. And that's where this, if you may, culturalization or acculturation begins. And everybody seems to think it's normal, for the women to be the ones who make, the house, cook the food, do the laundry, go to market. I mean, it's strange for you to see a guy carrying a list. I mean, not of a list you. I mean, you're in the market now pricing, and somebody says, there's not Uncle Cyril, pricing yam. I mean, what's this war coming to? Where is Madame? So these little things that might look a little bit inconsequential are actually at the root of where this problem of social inclusion, begins. And then the big elephant in the room is now access to land. Access to land ownership. Okay, the moment you have kids and they don't have, everybody says, okay, you know what, I'm doing you a favor by giving you education. Because, by the end of it, a woman has no, how did they put it now? A woman has no family until she gets married. It's a cultural saying. Okay, what that means is that whatever it is, okay, you can answer my name at the most, and then you get to a point where you now begin to ask your daughter, when are you going to get married and leave this house? You begin to put that pressure on this child. So when we begin to do stuff like that, you see, these are the back ends that begin to create, what we have now. And then people begin to now see you as entitled the moment you want to cross, that boundary. Okay, I mean, you can't wake up now and say to yourself, okay, you know what, I'm going to stay, I don't want to get married. I want to stay in my father's house. Maybe have my own kids, go to a sperm bank, get the kids I want and live my life.
That would be considered
haram.
Right. So with all this that you've just spoken about, let's look at women's participation in governance. How far have they gone so far?
Very badly. They have done very badly because in the first place, like I said, you don't even have an identity until you marry. And then when you marry, you lose your identity. Okay? Miss Cinderella Stoba becomes my son's wife. And then she wants to run for office. And somebody says, hell no. You're from Niger State, for crying out loud. I mean, it happens every time. And this is Cinderella Stoba that's giving, my kids very beautiful, wonderful, respected, maybe even one of them becoming the king. But she's not accepted, to be able to do some certain things because she's a stranger. So when it comes to public office, when it comes to governance, when it comes to recruitment, that problem now raises its head. Okay? And then you have a situation where, unfortunately, the man who's married her passes on. And then in some cultures, they actually ask her to take the kids and go. In some cultures that I know. Okay, to say, okay, the man who's brought you here is no more. Hand over everything, our brother's stuff, and leave. And she begins to wonder, these kids, are they not your brother's kids too? These are cultural things. These are things that are traditional, rooted in our way of life. So when you have this background, I'm trying to make it as elementary as possible so that people would not begin to see it as, okay. And I mean, we have President Jonathan coming out boldly to say, in the history of Nigeria, I am the president that's giving more women employment than ever. That is true. But the question will be, after his presidency, is it that women stopped going to school? They stopped building on their skills. They stopped being, qualified for public service and jobs. They stopped, being eligible for public procurement and running for public offices. No, the answer is no. That answer is also, oh no, remember you're a woman. And this is not coming from the men. They're actually also coming from the women folk. The first intro you showed is a very interesting one. I mean, you started by, showing the Senate. 2 days after, a day after, you saw women. You saw women. Nobody was, a lot of them weren't interested, in what the issues were. You saw women carrying placards to say, listen, be a woman and leave our son alone. So you also now have this gender bias in the gender inclusivity. So while you're blaming us, the men folk, who probably feel very good, I mean, every man is struggling to impress a woman. That's the truth. We live for women. That is the primary, your primary public is your wife. Everything you want to do, trust me, sometimes you're speaking English on television and you're wondering if madam is watching. You might not know it. And then she says, oh, my husband, you did very well. And he gives you some kind of kick. Every normal man is like that. So these are our cheerleaders. Okay, we do everything to impress them. So that impression has to be sustained and maintained by your superiority, in parentheses.
So how do we now begin to change this narrative?
Very, very simple. Very simple. Level playing ground. Way back in those days, you and I were in school, Cyril. It didn't matter if your father was the VC and mine was his driver. If you made a first class, you were going to get a job. That's the beginning. You see, gender inclusion wouldn't be it. And I can tell you, a lot of our women are doing much more. There's a study on the boy child and girl child issue in the Southeast. And at one time, they found that if you go to the Southeast where I come from now, you have more women that have gone to school, gotten up to second to third degrees, okay, than men. I'm in an association they call a FOSAD. It's a congregation of Southeast academics with their PhDs. At least, without being immodest, over 70% of us are women. And ditto for every other part of the country. So it's all about forgetting this, or let's give them something, and put it on the table. And I can assure you, countries that put it on the table are doing much more better than we are. Go to Rwanda. Rwanda is a test case. Syria, you go there, you don't see one paper on the street. And look at the governance structure of Rwanda. At the time I knew about it, you had over 60% of them women. And it's a country that is getting very close to zero in crime. Ditto for a lot of European countries today.
It's been said that in our situation, the huge challenges you'd have to face are cultural and religious. Is that so?
I agree. But culture was than religion. Culture was than religion. I mean, there are situations where a guy dies and then a woman is meant to sleep with the dead body in the dark because somebody says, oh, you killed him. This is a man you lived with for 20 years, for 10 years, for 15 years. And then some cultures will wash that dead body and tell the woman to drink the water. Some cultures will dehumanize her, get her to shave her head and not take a bath for 6 months. She's supposed to be smelling because she's a widow.
All right. Well, yeah, I think at this point we've been joined by Dr. Ifeanyi Ekweme, a Greek economist at the Ignatius Ajuru University of Education, Port Harcourt. She joins us via Zoom. Good evening, Dr. Ekweme. Glad that you could join us.
Good evening. I'm glad I'm here.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Okay. It would seem that you have just vanished from the screen again. Let's see if we can get you back up. All right. Yes, but
I'm here.
Right, fine, good. Now, we're talking about the socioeconomic benefits of women in governance. Let's hear your take on that.
All right, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about women today. You see, I want to thank my co-speaker that is there. I think he has but said a lot about the topic already. I want to say that in this section in Africa, I think women have not been given enough opportunity where they're supposed to be. And then you can also see there are a lot of benefits, just like you were saying, in some cultures in Africa, where women are treated like bad. Even in Niger, they're in South, some culture as well, they see women like no. And if you go to other parts of the country, you will understand that women are being seen as people who are not supposed to be part of the governance of the country. But I want to tell you something. When we talk about this economic benefit of women in governance, we also look at a lot of aspects. One of the aspects we look at, let us look at the economic aspect. When we talk about the economic aspect, let us look at how GDPs are being increased by these women. When women are given enough representation in governance, you discover that the GDP growth rate of the country will surely increase. One, how? These women are mothers. Some of these women are very meticulous. Just like they say, what a man can do, a woman can do it most one second. The fear these women will have, some of us these women don't have it. So if you give them, I can cite an instance of our mother who is at the World Trade Organization today, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Before she became the finance minister of Nigeria, you can attest that the fact that the Nigerian growth rate was going at a decreasing rate. But when she assumed the helm of affairs, finance minister and coordinating minister of the economy, you can also attest to the fact that Nigerian economy became the fastest growing in Africa and one of the best in the world. That is a fact, That is just that. So look at it. Think of our late sister, Professor Gojo, Professor Dodafiri. Professor Dodafiri, when she assumed NAFDAC, NAFDAC was like an organization everybody can go and do anything you like. But she changed their sanitary system. Today you can go to a Nigerian pharmacy and get drugs without looking back. That is one of the legacies a woman kept in this country. Going down the line, you can also talk about improved economy. Like I said, I mentioned of Professor Ngozi. We are all in this country. I saw how a woman improved this country under former President Goodluck Jonathan. So, let me take you back to my state, where I come from, Rivers State. When the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory now, Chief Barrister Ezewuonyi was the governor of Rivers State. And it was time for election. He said, okay, in my place, let us give women a chance. He said, okay, how do you do it? Women are clamoring for 40% affirmative action. He said, no, these people will give you more than 40%. He said, okay, all deputy chairmen of council must be women. And what happened? They all performed. Those of us who are from Rivers State, these women performed. I think one or two of them became chairman for the incidents of death and thereabouts. And they never did bad. That is on the economic aspect of it. These are women, what women can do. You can also talk about reducing gender-based violence. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, we're getting you.
Okay. You can also talk about gender-based violence. If these women are given opportunity today, I think they will sensitize these women, the get child, on how to go. The get child education will be prioritized. We will give them more attention. And I can even tell you, even in your home, even in our own various homes, we can see the importance women play. Those of them who are being trained, we can see the importance they play in our home. So, they have a lot of benefits. Okay. And if we talk about what they bring to the table, when they talk of governance, majorly, like now in Rivers State, out of the 32 state assembly members we have, I think by virtue of that we lost one, we have 6 women. Firstly, for former governor, who was gender-friendly governor, I said, no, teach women. Those constituencies that have two areas that have two constituencies, okay, one must be woman, compulsory. And you can see those women, they stand out as one of the best.
Okay. All right. Okay. We'll return to you in a moment because a number of those watching this program now are beginning to raise some issues they would like clarification. We have Olaide from Lagos, I believe. Right. Who's on the line? Hello, Olaide, are you there?
Olaide, please. Olaide from Lagos.
Yes, please go ahead.
Go ahead, you are online. Go ahead,
yes.
Go ahead.
Olaide, not Olaide, Olaide from Lagos.
Okay, all right. Just go ahead then. Thank you.
The man in white, Olaide, please, from Lagos.
All right.
The man in white said something that just impressed. Yes. Just only that. Yes. Yes. That just impressed me now. The man said, in those days, hello?
Go ahead.
Hello, the man said, in those days, you will see a CC child and a driver that could train his children. Yes, that could train his children to have 4th degree in university. You will discover that both of them will able to secure work without any stress. Yeah, but unlike now, that if you don't know any godfather, if you don't know anybody, the children of clerical officers will not secure work.
Yes.
That is what we needed to work on for this our what so-called leaders. They should try as much as possible to enable us so that they can enable us to play in a level.
Yes,
I mean,
I'd like you to.
Everybody we have access. Everybody has the same opportunity.
Okay, fine. Because I'd like you to relate what you're saying to the issue we're discussing, which is women in governance and the benefits of women in governance. And I'd like you to relate it to that. But as you just said, you're pushing for equal opportunities to all, both male and female. Right. On that, I get you. Thank you very much for calling in. Let me also take on this question, which has come in on our X handle. By the way, our X handle is back up and running. It's at Tuesday Live NTA. And this question came in. It says, women have low economic power. How do you think this can be improved upon in Nigeria? Dr. Emeka Okengu.
What has caused it? I mean, when you identify the sources of a problem, you have solved it. You mentioned religion, you mentioned culture.
Culture, yes.
You also mentioned women against women. Okay. It's also important that in playing that feminine card, okay, give us, okay, that it doesn't become very competitive. All right. It now becomes, okay, just yield it to us. Yield us this flow. It's important to also state that what we're calculating are the tangibles. If you actually put the man hours that our women put into our well-being, you'll be shocked at what value you will get. If we were just to price, what Madame does in the house within a 24-hour cycle, at pricing it at maybe the minimum of 10,000 naira per hour. And you find that this happens day in, day out. Okay, if you put some value to that labor, part of what we're doing is that we are not putting a value, okay, to what we think is traditional for the woman to do.
All right. So we just assume that, look,
it's your role.
It's your role, and we're not putting value to it.
No. So the moment you begin to put value into those things you think, okay, I mean, go and try the cost of a nanny. And then put those man hours against what madam has done with your kids. You would have been owing her close to 100 million, if not more, for just one child over a 5-year period. I'm not talking about housekeeping. I'm just talking about just taking care of these kids. So part of what we're doing is that we're fixated in some of our traditional ways of doing things. So you can stay on your mother's back forever. I mean, it's when a child is crying and you're home, or the child shouldn't disturb the father. Why should I be the one carrying this, carrying baby? Go to your mom. All of us are guilty. Take her to his mom. Take him to his mom. Get him out of here. Let me get some peace. Now, nobody puts a value to that peace you've gotten by calming that baby. But let's be a little bit more direct. For me, I have 2 girls before my boys, and I am bringing them up as human beings. And I'm saying to them, your being a woman is by your sex, but you're a human being. So you need to struggle, okay? You need to just take that step of faith and believe in yourself and do the things you want to do. There is practically nothing. I don't see any profession right now that is off limits for a woman. They're into boxing, they're into wrestling, they're into everything. They're into aviation. The people who are stuck in space, I think 2 or 3 of them are women, and they've been there for 9 months. So there's no excuse, okay, apart from what it is that we're loading onto them. And then when you want to talk about this population, Cyril, if all the women decided to stand behind one woman, no man will ever become president of Nigeria. No man will ever become governor in any state.
Okay.
So I think it's something that we need to begin to say to them, you're actually the ones who are tying these strings to your legs. Okay? Now because your husband says, oh, you're my wife. Yes, I'm your wife. We should begin to redefine responsibilities for crying out loud. I think that's where the problem is, and it's from the women themselves. And I'm a living example to this.
Okay. Let's take this call from Rabiu, who's calling in from Bauchi. Rabiu, hello.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Go ahead.
I am a regular watching of this program, but usually I used to get very difficult to reach you. Yes, sir. Like for both state government, just recently conclusion of this program of local government elections.
Rabiu, I'm not sure I get you.
So the government make it compulsory that each and every local government should produce
Oh dear.
3 women.
Okay, all right.
Please don't pause, just continue.
3 women. And for each and every local government to produce 3 councillor women to represent their local government at that level.
Okay.
So we have almost 20 local government. If you calculate it, you will see there's almost, I think, 60 local councillors.
All right. Okay, fine. Rabiu, yes, we appreciate you calling in. However, you keep stopping in the middle, and so it's making your contribution a little bit disjointed. However, we did get you when you said Bauchi State is leading with an example of insisting that in the local government elections, at least three councillors in each local council must be women. Let's go back to Dr. Ekweme, who's joining us via Zoom. You heard the example. Oh dear, I think we've lost the signals there again. But here is one example that Rabi from Bauchi has given us with 3 women. It reminds me of the current move, the bill that's currently before the National Assembly to create extra seats for women. If you recall that a similar attempt in the last assembly didn't scale through. But this time around, there's a lot of mobilization going on to ensure that what went wrong the last time doesn't happen to this bill. Now, although this is seen as a temporary measure, some have looked at it and said, well, perhaps this is what we need, a deliberate effort to get more women into the legislature, at least for now. Because if you look at the numbers, for instance, the National Assembly, it's so low.
It's also going to be entitlement, and that won't be for a very long time.
Yes, but at least
it will bring us back to what happened in the time of President Jonathan. What we need to do is to make certain that we begin to change the mindset. It's a mental thing. Okay, you need to begin to now make it a sin for you to keep the women folk down, because right now it is the right thing to do. And what is that story? Only very irresponsible women, in parentheses, stay out late and do politics. Now this is the story. Okay.
So you could easily apply that to men as well.
So you could also now say, right, everybody who's in politics is irresponsible, but that's not true. You have a lot of very decent people, determined women, hardworking women. So if there is this virus that has been sown, you need to get an antivirus. And that antivirus has to come from the pulpit. You must begin to now find where, that religious limits have to be, blurred, those lines. Now, secondly, you need to also do the same thing at the level of the political parties, at that level of engagement. Okay, we are just not talking about politics alone. We should be talking about the whole government. When the former minister, Pauline Tallen, was minister, I had a conversation with her then, and I said, Madam, you're the only ministry that transverses every ministry in this country. Because there's no ministry, there's no agency, there's no department, there's no system that does not have women. So you're actually the most important ministry. But I think the key is being able to build that budge. Okay, and then you put some recruitment system that begins to now bring out the best that can compete, with any other person. Because as long as you're making it a man's thing, okay, or let's give them, okay, the Bauchi is a good example. Three women from every local government or councillorship position, but would 3 out of 30 make any impact? Okay, now, except they get to that point where it can be a struggle. It can be, okay, fine, let's take positions. I don't like what it is. And I got here on my merit. And that's very important. Okay, the moment it is meritorious, the moment merit now is you begin to now preach meritocracy, it becomes a lot easier. It's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not going to be easy. But if all of us who are men decide, okay, it's not every woman, for crying out loud, that sits with men that are sleeping with this man, because this is all this whole story. Okay, the men must sit with women. Well, it's something that happens in politics that happens in public offices. Okay, you have female doctors treating male patients. So there's this interaction. But at that level of public procurement and public, engagement, you find out that for whatever reasons is what, people now begin to now push it to the limit. So first, our traditional institutions, and then our laws. And these are the laws of entitlements. We must make a deliberate policy, a deliberate law to criminalize making women subhuman. Yeah. That is just what it is, Chris.
All right. Back to the phones. We have Mubarak calling in from Jos. If Mubarak is still there, can you go ahead, please? Right, we can get that. Okay. Well, again, believe that we have Dr. Ekweme up and running again. Yes, there you are. And yes, I'd like you to respond to, well, we tried to get in one or two calls. They were not very clear. However, we heard a bit from Rabiu, who talked about three women as councillors in each local council. That's what Bauchi State is doing. Now, it brings us again, I put that question also to Dr. Okengu here, to the drive to get more women into the legislature. And this to ensure that it does not fall flat the way it did in the last assembly. So what are your thoughts on that? Dr. Ekweme? Well, I think we're having issues with him with the Zoom. Okay, you're back? Well, let's return back to the studio. I said, like, having some issues with
he had some, he was making some very cogent points.
Yes, the connections have not been very good. But you have hammered a lot on traditional institutions. You say they must be part of it, and you've also talked about laws must be deliberate to make sure that people do not just deliberately put down the chance of women being part of it. Now, again, the question we put here is change is usually very difficult. You find people who already have a mindset. It's either in our educational system or even from the homes, from how families are raised. You alluded to that this division begins right there from the home. Now, how do we begin to deliberately change this mindset?
Very simple. When I was growing up, I grew up in a university environment. My father would buy me and my younger brother guns. You know, we took names, whatever, Dan Blocker, whatever cowboy you wanted to be, knives, and then we buy my sister dolls. And encourage them to play these dolls, you know. So you needed to be girly. And then if you had any girl then who wanted to be assertive, they called her a tomboy.
A tomboy. So that's another challenge too.
They called her a tomboy. But if you bring up your children, you know, and bring them up like human beings, and like my father used to say to us when he was alive, there's only one thing I owe you. I'm going to give you the best that can make you competitive. I'm going to give you enough for you to be able to stand on your feet. Now, this is what we need to begin to do with our women. Okay, the moment we get that, and it has to come from that parenting. I'm not trying to say bring up your girl child like a cowboys, but bring them up like human beings with a mindset of their own, and not people that you are preparing for marriage, you are preparing for childbearing, you are preparing to be wives. Yes, you could. I mean, there has to be procreation. Now, they have to be women, but they have to be human. This is very, very important. And what my father also used to do way back, and I'm sure your father did that a lot too, everybody got equal amount of pocket money, you know, whatever it is you wanted to do. So you didn't have any privileges, you know, as a boy, you know, as it were. Now, if we begin to put that in, and every person now does not look up to, oh, God bless my husband. At one time, there's a mindset that started happening in Igbo land. And women started taking this title, Osodieme. Osodieme means I am assisting my husband to get. Okay? And then some of them even started taking chieftaincy titles and then started insisting that kola-nuts would be handed to them. Of course, there was this crazy outcry. I, for one, also wasn't very comfortable with it. But that assertion begins to now move you from, yes, I know, by rights, I'm going to be married to you, but we're going to be husband and wife, and we're going to be partners. Okay? Way back in those days, what you hear men say is outspoken. And no matter what Madam says about it, that's the end of it.
All right.
That's my decision. I'm trying to say, please talk about it. I've been married for 33 years, so I'm just not talking nonsense. And I found out that I have a lot of peace, you know, because women drill things faster and deeper than we do. And let's talk about this. This is what I think. What do you think? Now, it gives that, presentation of that as a union. But what we have in Nigeria, unfortunately, our marriages are not unions. Because a union is supposed to have, two partners who can talk things over. Now, there are also some responsibilities that come with this, our high horse. Okay, you're the man, pay the rent. You're the man, pay the fees.
So
you're the man.
Yeah.
So it all comes with a lot of mix that we must begin to work on, and it has to be some deliberate effort because we are losing a lot, Cyril. Women are suffering, no doubt about it. They are exposed to a lot. Okay, and if you're the breadwinner, and I know a lot of people have, good university education and are sitting at home because the man says, I don't want a woman who would work. And then he falls ill or loses that job, and he throws the whole family down a cliff.
Okay. At this point, we'll take a message. Stay with us. There'll be more shortly.
You to join the Side by Side Niger campaign.
At Side by Side Niger, we are asking for just one thing: fair representation of men and women in government through elective and appointive positions.
Why do we need more women in parliament?
Why do we need more women in government?
Only 4 out of 109 senators are women. Only 16 out of 360 House of Representatives are women. In the history of Nigeria, there has never been a female governor. Only 7 out of 36 deputy governors are women. In 14 states, women affairs matters are being headed by men.
But guess what? Women are half the population of Nigeria.
Women also make up to 47.5% of voters. More women should be part of making laws and policies that impact their lives.
Join the movement.
None of that small picking make it not get apple. But make get livid to take over around. My name is Anita Alaire Asoa. I have always believed in hard work and dedication and using my platform to promote real change. Nigeria has millions of talented and brilliant women. Women, where we say they are HQ, their headquarters, they pump on its head. Yet we see the same pattern. Less than 10% representation in governance. No matter how much effort women put in, we are still underrepresented where it matters the most: leadership. It is not about taking over, it's about balance. When a woman has a seat at the table, it reflects everyone's needs. So like this, time to reach to join the movement. To join me, let's push for a Nigeria where leadership reflects the true strength of our people. Men and women, side by side.
Thanks for staying with us. It's still about women in governance and the benefits of women in governance. Let's try to engage Dr. Ifeanyi Kweme once again, who's joined us via Zoom. And I guess you can hear me at this point. Let's see if we can get him up and running again. Unfortunately, your contributions have not been able to flow because of the challenges we have with the connections. But again, would like you to speak to how we can begin to change the mindset. And as has been observed, change is very difficult. That's one thing we all need to work on, to change the mindset. And instead of what has been so far tokenism, say, okay, it's our world, let's give a few women a chance to. How do we begin to change the mindset to believe that, yes, women are equal partners in the business of development here?
Okay, I think what we need to do first is to have a value orientation and changing our mindset first as men. Because the problem we're having is from the men. And because we men actually talk this, to being looking themselves as a inferior being. So if we must start, there should be value orientation. So the men in the workspace starting from our various offices, agencies, we should stop the discrimination. Because if you go to several offices or agencies where you see men and women, mostly where a man is leading, he sees the woman most times as nothing. So this has to change first. And this also has to come down to our various homes. The way we treat our girl child, giving preference to the male child than the girl child, has to change. That is where it starts from. Now, for instance, you have two children, for instance, a male and a female. You come today, you say the male child to a very good school because you believe you want him to come and become a medical doctor or this, that tomorrow. And the female child, you say, okay, let's manage whatever school. As because of maybe religious or cultural practice as a case is. All these things have to be changed. And how are we going to change all these things? One, we have to carry out this campaign down to the rural area. Because I think at the urban centers and the major cities in the country, there is a lot of orientation right now that meaning that women should take their place in the society. So in these rural areas, where they see these women, and that's where the problem is coming from. Because you see a man who will live in this city and becomes one chief or one traditional ruler, who has to go back to the village and bring one woman and turn her to a slave. All these things have to be changed. Most of the problem we are having is cultural practices, where women are not allowed to perform certain functions or carry out certain activities in our community. This has to be changed. Because as they're growing up, and you say, no, this one is for the male, this one is for the female. What you are doing is to segregate. And what you are trying to implant in the mind of the male child is that, you are superior, and this one is not superior. And when they grow up, it stands that way. Because it will not say, oh, I'm a child. Yes, it is true. Even the Bible says a man is the head of his home. But the Bible never called a woman a slave. Just like the speaker in the city here says, if you quantify what these women do at our various homes, you cannot price them. Not at all. You can't price them. So at this point in time, I think we should start a campaign. We should start and we should begin from our various homes. To the schools. That discrimination to stop. And also, gender-based violence to be stopped. I'm happy today, if you go to the area that I'm coming from, you see a lot of advocacy for the girl child education. A lot of NGOs are coming up today to speak for the girl child education. And when it's the day for the girl child, you see a lot of activities. All those are adding value. They are adding values to what we are talking about today. At least by so doing, in the next 10 to 15 years, by God's grace, we can see more women in authority. I will also tell you, women are good managers. Hello?
All right.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, let me just complete this. Women are good managers of our homes. Like, let's say, in every successful home, just turn around and look who is the wife. If you see a home that is flourishing so much, look at her, turn around, look at the secrecy. Sometimes the man might provide everything. But if the manager of the resources is not up and doing, nothing will come out. For instance, you bring it, so you give your wife money to go and arrange or prepare food for visitors and all that, and she don't know what to do. It's not going to work. So you see, these women are supposed to be cherished, are supposed to be loved and encouraged, because they are actually super beings like us. Understand?
All right. I would like to thank you very much, Dr. Ifeanyi Ekweme, Agri-Economist, Ignatius Ajuru University of Education, Port Harcourt. Thank you so very much for your contributions on this segment of the program. Thank you, and we hope to have you again some other time. Well, back here as we round off, Dr. Kingu. Right. Okay, we have a caller. This might be our last caller tonight from Jos. Yes, could you just introduce yourself and tell us your name and quickly ask your question and make your comment?
Hello. Yes, my name is Manzo Tagwal, calling from Jos. Actually, I have to appreciate the program. The benefit of the women, I can see in our representative, Honorable Benilar, in which being her there, she represented us very well. I think being her as a mother, she's a mentor, and she's everything to us. I think for this few times that she has not been there, we're in the lantern, it's like we have totally lost everything. Because the way you're trying to trace her history, she has never contributed or she has never done anything to herself. She used her resources. She made sure that she mentored everyone that comes to her. So being her Honorable Benilar, actually she's a good woman that mostly we're supposed to emulate her. Secondly, what just happened in National Assembly right now, I thought maybe you people can speak about it. But it's like it makes women to not able to come out when they have issues. What just happened in National Assembly between the Natasha and then the Senate President. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, and as we round off, Dr. Emeka Okengwu, your final word. Thank you.
Well, I think it's all in our hands.
Right.
It's all for us to understand, like I said to you, that we are all human beings. We are all humankind, made of maybe the female folks and the male folks. And if we realize and appreciate that, and I take it from this, I mean, you know this better than I do. So women work more under pressure than anybody.
Right.
Experience as a development person has taught me that. So it's our country, it's your choice. I mean, how you make your bed is how you lie on it.
All right.
Langton, if you want another woman, find another Benny and vote her in.
Okay.
I'm sure there's so many more like her there.
All right. Thank you so very much for being part of it. Dr. Emeka Okengwu, Development Economist. So thank you. And that's our program tonight. Well, thank you for watching. Next week, we'll be back with NTA Tuesday Live. I'm Cyril Stober. Bye for now.